Radio peeps, so today we are going to be building a very basic PC which is going to be used for standard desktop use, nothing strenuous. I just thought I'd go through the process that I use. It's pretty much the same as everybody else, to be fair, but I thought I'd go through it since I need to get some content on, and excuse the coldy sound. So we've got an MSI Pro A620 motherboard, M-ATX. So we'll just get all the bits out ready. We won't need that one. That's a nice little screw. Putting in that. But we will not need the SATA cable because we've got an M.2 drive, as I think most people do these days. So we'll build on the box as always. Excuse me. Radio then. So there's the little cheap pish motherboard, shall we say. AM5, but also it is DDR5 RAM as well, he says, looking at the box, just to confirm. Yeah, so DDR5 support. You always panic when you are at the point of building and you've quoted and it's going to be done at a certain time. Okay, and to go with that, we've got a Ryzen 5 8400F. The reason it's supplied like this is because my supplier does it in open box, for want of a better word. Rather than being boxed, it's slightly cheaper from my supplier by doing it that way. So we'll just pop that one in. Okay, put that away. And then we've got a single stick of 16 gigabyte DDR5 Kingston Fury. This is a stick I had before everything went loopy, so I'm going to use that particular stick. I'm actually going to put it in the second slot just so as I've got plenty of clearance when it comes to putting on the fan for the CPU cooler. Sorry, my brain's not working either with the cold. Okay, so we need to put the standoffs in for the M.2. Which is why they supply you with this little key. Quite a nice little idea. So 2280, I assume it's that one. Let's double check with the length. Yep. Before we do that, what have we got on the top of there? It's like a little push down, not sure what that is. So I've not built with this board before, so that'll be quite interesting. So that's in situ. So using a Silicon Power SSD, again, it's one I had bought way before the prices went up, just to be safe. Oh, I see, that's quite neat. So as it goes off on an angle, a bit like on a gimbal, so as you could just slide it in and it clicks into place. I quite like that. Okay, so now we're looking at the cooler. So again, it's supplied by my supplier. So many of you may not have heard of the brand Vida. There's some of distribution companies that supply these different products. So it's a dual fan style, very similar to the Thermaltake. more than adequate for the system that we're putting in here. The nice thing is, again, if you look at the number of heat pipes, it's got 6 heat pipes, so that's plenty, absolutely plenty. Okay, so we're putting it on AM5. The only thing I don't like is the fact that it's all in a packet, not very well labelled. So I'm going to do a bit of looking into that in a minute. So those two are the same. Those two are the same, and those two are the same. And then obviously we've got 4 brackets for that. So the back plate will be for Intel, that I'm pretty sure of. Okay, so we've got instruction book. Here we go, AMD. So it's saying the AMD ones are those two. Okay, so we'll put these to one side then, because that's clearly not what we want. So again, if we look at these, yeah, you've got the logic there. Okay, so we need to take out the existing bracket for AM5. I do tend to keep these because you'll be surprised at sometimes people go AIO and then want to go back to air cooler, and then the old-fashioned air cooler ones do tend to use these brackets, so I should keep those to one side. Okay. Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Just done a little bit of a screw in. Just to make sure. Not too sure about that way around. I'm just going to double check on the instructions here. So on the AMD, okay, so we've got to do installation on the actual heat sink itself first. Okay. So take those out of there. So it's not totally clear. Let's presume, yeah, see that doesn't fit. So assuming you invert it, yes, you can see the hole. Okay, so that's a logical method. Or not. Okay, so it's difficult to tell on these instructions, but it then looks like it's from underside. So that would suggest it's that way round. Okay. Okay. Like so, and just a little bends. I think they've got to go in that way, so we're going to soon find out. We'll work this one through. This was a slightly smaller screwdriver, but hey ho. Fool. We'll get there in a minute. Note to oneself, don't try and do everything with a big screwdriver. Thank you. Straight away, see. Okay, let's just bring that up and just make sure that we have got. So clearly that's the wrong way round. So that explains, you know, the instructions sometimes. I mean, these ones, I mean, okay, I know it's a cheaper air cooler, but the instructions are awful. So I'm just going to invert them. Not going to edit this out. We're all here to learn. You know, kind of. You know, next time I fit these in, then I'll be a bit more obvious to what I've got to do. There we go. Nice fit. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to remove the plastic peel from the bottom. Again, doesn't come off particularly well. There we go. And I'm going to place a pea-sized amount of MX4, although it does come with thermal paste, but pea-sized piece. Okay, now they're all located. And I'm going to do a diagonal screw in. So we'll start with that one. And then that one. And this one. And then this one. And this one. This one. This one. And so on. And then this time I'm going to go right down so as they are as far as they need to go. Okay. So there's two fans. One looks like it's got RGB, yes it does. Excuse me. Again, that's not why I bought it. So at the end of the day, I don't think we've got it on this board. If I'm honest, it's not a problem. What they don't supply you, which I'm surprised about, is a CPU split. So you've got the ARGB split. Okay, so if you want to put it on ARGB and you want to pass through, then you've got the pass through. But what you've not got is the two fans for, or sorry, the split for the two fans to run it off of a one CPU fan header. So that's going to be needed. So I'll just look one of those out. So look one of those out. Fortunately, I don't have a white one, but hey ho. So we will pop that in to the CPU fan header. Like so. And then what I'm hoping is we can pass that through the case, probably put it at the back. It's a cheap case again, but something we're going to try to do. As I say, I'm not going to bother with the ARGB because there isn't any on the board anyway. Or not that I can see, no. So we're not going to worry about that anyway. It's going in a standard case, so. So both fans look like they're spinning the same way, so it's going to be that and that, so like that. Okay. Usual spring clip design. Again, I've got a sneaky suspicion. I mean, I've gone for the front holes. I think it's through the back holes. Looking, yeah, it's got to be the back holes. Show you a minute. So this is one of the reasons there are cheaper versions out here, because of the design, to be honest. So again, I pop it on. That's fine. And that's fine. But it's actually using the back, so the springs coming through these back two to hold it onto the board. I'm not a fan of that personally, but you know. So again, if I hold this one on, oh, let's go down a bit, there we go. If I hold this one on, it goes through the back two holes, clips in. And the same for that one. So he's on there, he's on there secure, but not the point, in my opinion. Okay, so clip that one into there. These we just want to put out the way so they can go under there out of the way, because they're not going to get used and we don't really want them to. Yeah. And there we go. Pop a cable tie on there. Just to keep it neat. Okay, so that's the motherboard prepped. So just prep the case now. Okay, as I've already mentioned, it's a cheap, again, it's a Vita case, corporate case they call it, but basically it's equal to the CIT, very thin styled cases. Obviously comes with all the standoffs, so just get those in place. Just double check on the motherboard. Okay. And we'll just do those up. Okay, lay it back, please. Make sure all the backplate things are up out of the way. Usually it's the HDMI that causes a problem. So again, go careful not to cut your hands to ribbons on these cheaper cases. Like so. Okay, move headers over here out of the way. And then something I like to do is this. So where possible, so there's the motherboard. So what I like to try and do is get as much connected before I actually put it into the case that's on this bottom ledge. So for instance, we've got the audio, which is that one. Okay, supporting it obviously. We've then got a number of USB jumpers. So. And then we've got the JFP one, which is our normal options. So reset is that one. Power is that one. Never understood why these are always separate, the power LED. It'd be great to know why. It's the only ones that are, but you know. So power LED. Make sure they are in properly, which they are. And HDD LED. And again, most of your builders will be the same. It's a shame they're not on a proper just plug it in the way we go scenario. Okay. Okay. So we have actually, I said I didn't need the SATA. I do, because we've got a DVD drive to go in here. So I will put one of those on ready. Funny thing is they only supply one now, but then I suppose that's the thought pattern of if you've got M.2, why would you need another one? So yeah, go with the bottom one. That's fine. It has got this board does give you a USB-C option on the front, which is quite good. Obviously USB 3. Oh, there is ARGB. Look. So we do have ARGB. So based on that, let's pop that over there. Let's give it a little bit of length. Again, it's another one of those horrible connectors. There we go. You don't want to get it wrong. So pretty much everything apart from the USB 3 is now on. So I'm just going to put that in situ. Like so. These cases, by the way, the other reason I get them, because although they're cheap, but they serve the job for a desktop PC, is because they come with a fan at the front, but it's a 4-pin fan as well. So it's a PWM fan, which for the price is really good. Okay, so they all line up. So let's get those screwed in. Excuse my head. It looks like I'm one screw hole out. So I'm going to take that back out a minute. So I'm slightly out with the back over there. So just to go over one on the standoffs. There we go, back as we were. Make sure that goes underneath so as not to short anything out. Let's double check. Everything looks good. These boards have got the old PS2 mouse scenario as well, mouse and keyboard, which I do find odd for a board in this day and age, but there must be a reason. Excuse the glare off of the white cooler. I haven't got the lighting sorted out in here. Long screw. Just as yet. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're all screwed in as far as that's concerned. And pop in the USB 3 cable. So, we'll tidy all that up in a minute. As we will all of this, we'll pop all that over there in a minute. So we do have a drive to go in there. So these days, the supplier said they supply these things, so it's for want of a better word, it's a DVD from a laptopy style, slimline if you like, inside of a caddy. So they only have to make the one type because obviously they're few and far between, and they supply you with a SATA power lead. So that's fine. That's quite handy actually, because it means we can pass that through here to do it before we set it all up inside. So let's just take the SATA cable from here, pass that underneath everything, just for the means of cable tidiness, and then pass that through there. So again, we can pop that in before we do everything else. So PSU, again, I said it all the way along, this is a cheap build with the cost of things at the minute. So again, we're using a VIDA power supply. It's not a bronze rated, oh it is, it's an 80 plus bronze. Again, VIDA, many of you may not have heard of them, usually supplied through distributors. And again, what I tend to do is get all the cables out ready and then fit them as required, and then put the PSU in afterwards, especially in these smaller cases. So that's the ATX. In situ. So now we want one for the CPU. And that's in situ. And then the only other one we're going to use is going to be the one specifically for the DVD drive. So it's going to be one of the SATA cables. So if we have a look at this mess. There's a SATA cable. Pop that one through here. And then onto that one. It's ready to rock and roll that side. So slot the power in. It's all a little bit tight. We can do all the tidying up after I've done the build, so it's just about getting the build in at the minute. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, he's off camera, but I'm just doing screws up on the power supply. Okay, as I said, we're trying to tidy this up as best we can. There's not a lot we can do with it. It's kind of going to have to go into this area. But again, we'll worry about that a little bit later on. Okay, the one thing I haven't done, excuse me, is I should have put the fan header in just to make life a little bit easier for myself. There it is there. There we go. Got a bit lucky with that. So we've got the SATA power for the DVD drive and the SATA connector. Get her in the right way. Okay. There we go. Level it out. We'll put two on the other side as well. Just for the purpose of being able to test, I'm just going to push all that in there for the minute, so it's not snagging the fans. I have seen people just do that and then leave it, but that ain't me. Okay, so leave that just there for the minute. And again, this is all going to be tidied up, but I'll pop it there for the minute. Right, one last thing, discrete graphics card. So, keeping with the theme of the MSI motherboard, I've got an MSI GT710, just a basic discrete graphics card. It's a fanless one, so it's seems you've got three fans in here, two on the CPU and one on the case. So this is probably, yeah, gonna need to take this one out. Now I should have done this beforehand. Don't like doing this when the boards are in, so you've got to be very careful. Okay, get away with that. Take the plastic sheath off. Slide in there nice and true. Okay, doesn't like that, so I'll get some of my own. PC screws. Go. No Wi-Fi on this one, purely because they've got router right next door to it. So okay. So apart from the tidying up, I've got a plate to put in here, which actually I could have done before I put that screw in, which would have saved a lot of faffing about. Just take it back out again. Actually, no, get rid of that thing. Not quite. Do that one a little bit. Just give it a bit of plate. Okay. So assuming everything's gone to plan, if we now plug in our keyboard and mouse, our HDMI cable, like so, grab a power lead, keyboard and mouse is already there. So all things being equal, we turn on there, we turn on there, and then we push the power button. We have boot. ram training. Okay, and there we have new CPU installed, FTPM corrupted, or usual you would expect to see sign. Okay, green light. Okay. And indeed, it's now installing or booting into Windows, because there is a fresh installation of Windows 11 already on the boot drive. So a little bit of a continuation from the last part of the video. Major error. Thought I could get away with the tower cooler that I already had in stock. Clearly, without checking the height, it's a good centimetre-ish too tall. So we got to get this one out and pop something else in instead. So just whip these off of here. There we go. Get rid of the old, I say old, day old thermal paste. There we go. And get on the bench what we're going to replace it with. So take that one off. So that's what we're going to replace it with. So it's a Thermalright AXP 120, so it's a low profile CPU cooler. Obviously sits flat, but it's a 120mm fan. They do a 90mm fan version as well, but I don't, it'd be a little bit noisier, so I think we're better off sticking with 120mm fan, lower speeds, does the same cooling basically. So, accessory package, instructions, fan, power out. I can pop out the way. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 heat pipes, single spin stack. So the thin 120mm fan. Now we can just do a quick check in the old instructions. Oh yeah, so they've got holes for when you screw down onto the brackets. That's quite good. Like that. So in here, huge pack of stuff, color coded, self-explanatory. Red AMD, blue Intel. It states on there 115X, 1200, 1700, so we know that's Intel. Bracket will be the Intel bracket. What we do need let go. Oh, they've gone through the packet, that's fine. That's just a bit of the packet. Or of course the fan springs. Leave that one. Again, these are marked. Nice. So you do get some thermal paste. So 2 straight brackets and 2 curved brackets. The curved ones are marked AM4, which is the same for AM5. So put that in there like that. There we go. Over to the side out of the way. And then looking at the instructions, it looks like the curved brackets are facing into the CPU. Obviously we'll double check that after we've sat them in. It tends to be a kind of standard method on AM4, AM5 now. So the standoffs here will receive the red standoffs, like so. And then these should sit like so, facing in. So if we pop, just going to put them in loosely. Do the same this side. And just going to do it finger tight initially, just to make sure that we've got our thought pattern correct with how this sits. So if I offer up cooler. Yep. So that is correct. Now, would that clear the RAM? If I go that way, yes it would. Okay. Just looking at the best. Yeah, that would be the best way. So I'm just going to tighten these up. Okay, just a little tweak on them, not dramatic. So, is that going to allow me to put my... Oh, that's not quite, so I'm going to have to do it with my standard Weller. That's fine. Take the peel off of that. Get our MX4 rather than using the one that comes in it. Okay, I'm going to do the same as I did before. About the size of a pea. I'm going to line it up as best I can. Excuse me, head again. That's caught. That one has not. So about there, I think. Yep, he's cool. So all I'm doing is doing alternate screw downs now. There we go. Okay, so fan mount. Clip that down in there. Clip that down in there ready. That's going to be fine. And then the same with this one. Okay. Going to have to place it where you roughly want it. Head in the way again. Pull the clip down and into place. And there we are. Just double check. It's in there nice and solid. Which it is. Same on this side. Yep. So it's not going anywhere. And plug the fan header in. Just like so. And there we go. So I'm just going to flip that one round a minute again. It's just purely so as we can see it boot up and the cooling kick in. Okay, power in. HDMI, USB to control keyboard and mouse. Power switch on. Power switch on. And we have fan spin. MSA logo. Booting into Windows, no problem at all. And we're in. And as you can hear, it's all quieting down. The only fan you can probably hear is the fan in the room. In fact, if I turn that off, like so, that's running really nicely and quiet. We'll do a boot to BIOS just to check the temperature of the CPU currently. Although again, it'll need time to run in. Tied some of the cables up as well. There is a hard drive to go in there for the customer, so you might have to remove the fan to be able to do that, but it says I've tidied up some of it, but I won't tidy up the rest of this until I got that in. Okay, spamming, delete key. We are into, so CPU core temperature is currently 28 degrees. Lovely. That's fantastic. Alright, it's not under load obviously, but it's running nice and low. Cool. Okay, well that's it. I'll just put the lid on just as a final thing, so we know that we now have a CPU cooler that fits. As I said, the build is just for standard internet use, a bit of Excel work, internet use as usual, as I said, email, a little bit of photograph, looking at, not Adobe or anything like that. So you know, it fits with what the customer wanted. The price was right for the customer, and I used obviously cheaper, shall we say, equipment. So a cheaper case, cheaper power supply. Obviously the fan, so that fan was $22.99, the CPU cooler. So from Amazon at the time of purchase, the AXP 120 was $22.99. So you know, nice good price. As I say, the VIDA products I get from my wholesaler, but they do the job. You know, people say, oh, that's cheap, but it does the job. That's all that matters. So hope you enjoyed it. Everybody says it. Please like and subscribe. I really would like if I get some subscribers. I think I've got about 100 at the moment, so thank you for those that have already subscribed. I'm trying to do more videos. At the moment, it seems to be about once every month and a bit, but I want to try and make that, you know, at least weekly at some point. So if it interests you, then just please, you know, like and subscribe, and you'll see what I can do. Thanks very much.